Moving on, the example I gave before about control frameworks, it came up today during that webinar with Enable, and Chris Massey of Enable asked the question, and I'm going to try to paraphrase it, which is if you're an MSP, startup or otherwise, but you're not doing anything in compliance or certification, you're not certified, you're not audited, and you just don't know where to start, where do you start? Like literally, what is the first thing that you do as an MSP to take that first step towards compliance, achieving certification, and even just trying to figure out which framework do I pick? Number one, first thing, business plan. That's the last segment we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about that next. That's the first thing you ought to do. The next thing, after you come up with your business plan, is you figure out, because this stuff actually can change even after you've got an existing business plan in place. So the business plan could and likely will need to be updated in this one regard. The types of customers you're taking on today versus the type of customers you took from day one might reasonably be different. It's quite reasonable to expect that could be a very different set of customers. Ask yourself this question when deciding where to start with in control frameworks. What is most relevant to your customers? What type of customers do you have in your managed services? Now, I'll give you a little hint. If you are a managed service provider, but you also do professional services, consulting, you resell stuff, hardware, software to customers, I am not talking about any customer other than a managed services customer, because that arguably is the only relevant customer relationship that you will have that even implicates compliance, right? You can't be audited on your reseller work. You really can't be audited on your professional services, your consulting work, because doesn't rise to the level. There aren't controls. There's no control framework for consultants, but there are for MSPs, and there are for customers who receive MSPs. What's relevant to your customers? Well, you might say, well, Charles, we've got a whole bunch of different customers. How do I know? Do I have to go call each and every one of them and ask them what's relevant to them? It's probably not a bad idea for you to be talking to your customers frequently. And yeah, you might want to start asking them questions like, are you starting to hear about certain compliance frameworks from your vendors, your partners? If you're not asking those questions, somebody probably is. That's not you. All right, that's all I'm saying. Relevancy to your customers. If you've got customers who, let's say in the U.S. banking sector, chances are they're going to be interested in SOC 2 or MSP Verify. If you have customers that are in the defense industrial base, chances are they're going to be sensitive to and hearing a lot about CMMC. If you have customers that happen to be in Europe, mainland Europe, chances are they're going to be highly responsive to things such as ISO 27001, so on and so on. Every country could be a little bit different. Every market vertical, service vertical could be a little bit different in terms of the types of control frameworks that might be pressuring that customer at any given moment. That's your first step, is understanding where the pressure is coming from your customers.